Now we're going to go old school just for a minute because this is really important. Claude Hopkins wrote Scientific Advertising in 1923. Gosh, that's nearly almost 100 years ago. But the principles are so applicable to today that it's worth knowing about. And he was the first really to measure advertising results and test copy against each other, test messages against each other. So his way of connecting with prospects is to know who you're writing to, as we've said, speak in your prospect's language, which we'll dive into a lot, because that's significant. And then take the business of helping your prospect seriously. Offer a solution to a problem, make a promise, and prove that you can deliver on it. So let's begin really creating that picture of who your prospect is. You want to think about your prospect as a living, breathing person that is going to respond to your messages. It's someone who fits the description of the perfect buyer or the ideal buyer. You want to write down a name. Give that person a name, because then that will make your copy more personal. Get a photo of the person, anyone that really reflects who your buyer is. And then create a sheet that shows you the interest, the personality, the likes, the dislikes, the habits, what they've bought before in the category, what they're reading now, what some of their hobbies are, all related to your product or service. Agora Publishing, which is a major publisher in the health and financial niches, they create very detailed customer profiles. They're also called avatars here. And they go into quite a lot of depth about the buyer. Okay, here's something very important that you need to consider. The prospect is the most important person in your copywriting. I'll say that again for emphasis because it's that important. The most important person in copywriting is your prospect. Now, you may think that it's your product or your service or your client, but that's not true, because if you can't convince the prospect that the product is worth buying, nothing else matters, as I mentioned before. So, if you can prove that you can make your prospect richer, smarter, more attractive, healthier, a hero, whatever it is you're trying to do, he or she will reward you with a response. And then if you continue to care about the prospect's feelings, concerns, needs through your copy, let's say you've retained a customer, you have to keep that love going, and he or she will remain a loyal customer. Now here's someone else to meet, Mark Everett Johnson. He's written a promotion for the Mayo Clinic Health Letter that has been the control, the top selling promotion for 20 years. So he knows what he's talking about. He says, you're not in the business of writing words at all if you're a copywriter. It's not about writing words. You're in the business of motivating human beings to take action. I know I've said this many ways, but it really needs to sink in. The whole mission of the copy is to make the prospect motivated to take action. So how do you actually know how to do that? How do you know the prospect? Okay, so now we're going to get into the nitty-gritty of how you actually get to know your prospect so that you can write copy that resonates with them. There are lots of different ways to do that. We're going to dive first into the basic facts or the demographic data that you need to know. Age, gender, income, location in the country, that type of thing. Then we'll dive into deeper facts or psychographics, and that gets into their interests, their worries, what they're thinking about. And then finally, and we're going to devote a whole separate module to this to really get into this, but you want to know the deeper insights of the prospect, what their core beliefs are about things, especially related to your product category, what their feelings and desires are, what they're hoping to achieve. So here's a way to start collecting the facts about your prospect. Most niche industries, no matter what it is, will have trade journals or certain publications that reach the market you're trying to reach. And those publications will quite often, or even websites, have a data card on their ideal prospect or reader or buyer. So here's an example from Food Network. They have a data card, demographic profile, that shows that their customer is 74% women, age 43.8 on average, income, $67,876. That's pretty interesting. I didn't realize that income level would be the typical buyer. So here's what we're learning. Their college, 61.2% are college graduates. And they state that their audience is where chefs are celebrities and food is entertainment for passionate readers. So great, that's Food Network. Now let's look at a different example. Here we have a data card for Men's Health. Their profile is completely different from the Food Network. They have 84.8% men, as you would imagine. The age is 41 average. The household income is pretty high, $84,651. They're 34.5% college graduate plus, meaning a master's degree of some sort. Their statement on who their prospect is the magazine is for active professional men who want greater control over their physical, mental, and emotional lives. It's very different from Food Network, yes? So how do you get into some of the things that they care about? Well, depending on what you're selling, you want to look at maybe a product label if it's a product. Look at the ingredients and all of the benefits. Is it an all-natural product, and does that matter to the buyer? And is it easy to take? That might matter. It might make a big, huge difference. Or you can ask the product team, people who work on the product every day or even created it. You ask them, who's the ideal customer? What do we know about the buyer? And are there any product development insights that led you to create the product in the way that you did, that mattered to customers when you were making it? Extensive research is going to be your best friend when you're trying to get to know the customer. So look at product reviews online, look at forums or social sites, blogs, articles in that product category. Talk to customers. Find out if you can talk to some customers from your client or your product or your business. Also talk to customer service, because they're on the front lines every day hearing what people are asking and thinking about the product. The more you know, the better. This happens to be a pet food industry post about the top trends on consumers' minds in 2017. So do research like this, because it really can give you clues into what the prospects are thinking about. So here are 6 surefire ways to know your prospect from Bob Bly again. Ask for customer support letters. Ask for customer surveys. Ask for product samples. If you haven't seen or tried the product, you're missing a big chance to understand what the customer will enjoy about it. Get testimonials and reviews. Ask for old promotions, winners and failures. The failures can teach you what didn't work as much as the winners teach you what did. And then talk to the product champion, which might be in the publishing world an editor, in the business it might be a founder, or it might be an R&D person. Next, we're going to dive deeper into the big idea.